Pediatric cardiac arrest is every first responder's worst nightmare. It's the most unnerving, emotionally draining, and chaotic calls that you will run probably in your entire career. But over the last decade, I have been a part of 5 PD codes, and I have developed a method that brings some order to the chaos, and I want you to steal my method. Hi y'all, I'm that bossy paramedic girl, and I want to guide you through all things EMS education, safety, and operations. So you may be inclined to believe that the chaos starts as soon as you make it to the call. The truth is, the most important things happen before you even arrive. When you hear those words, pediatric cardiac arrest, coming at you over the radio, your adrenaline spikes. Emotions are already high, and you're juggling the unknowns before you even get there. And after all of these experiences, I have realized that preparation doesn't just help, it is essential to keep the chaos at bay. The first thing that you need to do is ensure that your resources are en route, that PD is there to help deal with crowd control and the inevitable heightened emotions that come with the PD code, and fire department for extra hands. You also need to begin assigning roles before you even get to the call. Begin tasking your partner immediately. Things that they can do: appropriately sized BVM to oxygen, readying the appropriately sized defibrillation paddles, Braslo tape, etc., while you move to the next critical step. This next part will probably surprise you, and you may even disagree at first, but I just need you to trust me. It feels very natural to work a code on scene. That is where we have the most space, right? But with pediatric cardiac arrest, it's a little bit different, especially if you're dealing with a smaller child. I started moving my PD codes to the back of the ambulance. It was, in most cases, a natural first step, as the parents were generally waiting for us by the road anyway. And I noticed something that changed how I approach these calls. The first thing it does is it shifts public perception. It is often assumed that we are not acting in the best interest of the patient if we do not just throw them on the stretcher and rush them to the hospital, despite there being a whole body of evidence to support that it is what's best for the patient to stay on scene and work the cardiac arrest there. But even just that short trip to the ambulance seems to shift that perspective that we're not doing enough, and seems to reassure bystanders that we're at least doing something. I've also noticed that when I take the child from their parents, there seems to be a bit of trust that is developed in that moment. And I don't know how to explain it, but it is something that I've felt, I can only describe as a feeling when I'm taking these babies from their parents. It also benefits you in a safety perspective. As we all know, these scenes can get very emotional and very chaotic very easily. If dynamics on scene become unsafe, it is very easy to just pick up, go down the road, and work your code a few miles or a few blocks away to eliminate any serious threats of safety. Here is the part where you have to take control of your scene, because a crowded ambulance creates far more problems than it solves. It has been my experience that most parents do not want to watch, and in most situations, they are just looking for some guidance. And their emotions, while understandable, can unintentionally shift focus away from that patient who desperately needs you to be at your best right now. I learned that locking the doors of the ambulance does not just protect the team, it also protects the patient. I will say, if the parents are insistent on watching, I would allow, as long as there was no posed safety risk. Ideally, you would limit the team in the ambulance to 3 responders: yourself, one other ALS or BLS provider, and a compressor, which makes it easier when you're in the back of the ambulance. If absolutely necessary, and like I said, you have fire department on scene, they can always switch out through one door or the other and let the new compressor in if both ALS and BLS providers are otherwise tied up. Here's the truth: not every single call will fit this formula. This is a template that you can adapt to just about any pediatric cardiac arrest situation. Having structure isn't about rigidity, it's about giving you the flexibility to adapt where it matters. Here are a few key points to keep in mind. First and foremost, if you do go and get the child, make sure you are taking note of exactly how you found them in case investigators need to know. Too large, or there is some type of spinal precaution, this may not be the best approach. And only move the child if you reasonably believe that you can still provide decent compressions while you're moving them from point A to point B. Pediatric cardiac arrest will never be easy, but with the right preparation and mindset, you can handle them with confidence and care. Now it's your turn to steal it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and good luck, guys.